Damn, we dropped off a golden nigga. I played my motherfucking part though. That nigga sounded like Darth Vader. Oh, is that Darth Vader? Nah. DJ, bro, he sounded like Darth Vader, bro. And he coming at me.
Okay, I mean, someone feels something.
How I sound like a bitch and you sound like Darth Vader?
We'll probably work till dark, maybe later.
That nigga sound like Darth Vader, bro. He had that damn, that voice stimulator shit or something. Something right. Probably sounded like that, like a baby. He was a baby, bro. He sounded like Darth Vader, like Mom, I am your father. Bro, he sounded like Luke. I am your father. I really sound like Darth Vader. Oh shit, what the fuck?
I'm 6'4", you can't throw that bitch in the paint to me.
I try to throw it to him, brother. I'm gonna try to throw it to you, nigga.
Oh shit.
Go sleep.
Luke. Damn. Where did we go? Allie. Yup.
Alright, these niggas don't score no more points till we get to 10.
I'm with that.
Alright, good.
Luke, I am your fucking father. Oh shit.
What the fuck?
Pro hop. Alright, dunk contest shit. Now we need to stop, fellas.
Alright, I got you.
Word. Oh, my fault, bro. He got it to you.
Sure.
Oh, we still.
God is on.
I got him.
I think 2K
Oh.
funny. Oh, shit, quit jumping. Oh, he got me.
He got you.
Shit. So he can't shoot though. Like that's what I be trying to figure out. Can a nigga shoot though?
I can shoot. I don't know what's going on with 2K today though.
See, my nigga can't shoot, so you ain't even gotta guard mine, bro. Oh!
Alright.
You ain't even gotta guard blue, bro. He can't shoot. I can just play the paint. You hear?
You really think I'm gonna pass it out there with a wide open lane, homeboy?
Hope not. Yeah, I'm gonna play the paint. Come here, boy.
Oh,
come here, boy. Come here, boy. Got dark on your ass.
Oh,
Luke, I am your fucking father. Luke, I am your father. Come to the dark side, nigga. Oh no, I can't catch them shits. I'm a postcode.
You can't catch them.
Nah, I ain't got no Lob City finisher yet.
Oh.
I'm a post. Oh shit.
Oh, this nigga here hooping.
Fuck. Fuck it.
Touchdown.
I done already threw it down.
I'm a two-way sharpshooter.
Alright, now I'm playing the paint. Y'all play
the nigga in the blue, some kind of slasher.
Yeah. But no, get on him. Yeah, stay on white. Don't even play blue.
I can't see shit. Nigga, it's dark as fuck.
Oh,
I don't know where the ball at.
Shoot. Come on, man. Okay,
anybody can make the corner shot, though.
Yeah, that's fast.
Oh my goodness, 2K. This shit. I'm
These
hopping
niggas
off
finna
at
beat
this
us.
shit.
It look like that. And we be some golden niggas. Pick. Oh, you say you can't work off a pick, so I'm gonna just play the corner. I remember that shit.
Oh, you should have kept cutting.
Hey, do him, man.
Give me one. Ah!
I'm off after this game. This shit.
This nigga postponed getting his ass bust, man. Come on, now, tighten up, bit, man. Let that little ass nigga do you like that now, man. That man got goddamn 4 rebounds for your one, now.
I feel that. Oh, look at that.
That's my fault. I can't see. I really can't see, bro.
No.
It got dark than a motherfucker.
Oh, that was your shot.
No. I'm going after this. I'm not Call of Duty.
We done got our ass bust.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm crazy. We all got positive grades.
Yeah, that is crazy. Give me that! Okay. Shit. And it was 2 lockdowns. That's what it was. It was 2 lockdowns and the shooter. Yeah. Two-way finish.
See the resurgence of both basketball and a legacy cemented in time by Rose and his squad. But tragedy struck. The Bulls lost their superstar, lost that first round series, and have yet to recover. It's 2017. The Houston Rockets have found a recipe for success in their superstar James Harden and a roster deeper than arguably any other in the league. They have length, they can defend, they have veterans, and they have youth. But they're missing just one key piece. After a trip to the Western
Good
Conference
shot.
and a couple playoff runs that felt a bit
Booyaka,
underwhelming, the
booyaka.
Rockets eventually found their missing ingredient. A man who, ironically, had never found much playoff success himself. Chris Paul. In his first season with the Rockets, Paul helped lead the team.
Oh, why did I jump, Lord? Good D.
By a wide margin.
Oh, how he get that rebound? What the fuck?
For the league's most lethal
How the
offense
fuck he get that?
But you can make an argument that in that season, the Rockets were even deadlier than the Warriors. Because in those playoffs, we witnessed the impossible. Or at least, almost did.
Hell
Game
no.
6 of the Western Conference Finals. The Rockets
go.
3-2 in a series against a fully healthy Golden State Warriors team and are coming off
How the fuck he get that rebound?
They had the momentum. They were ahead in the series, and they were the better team. And then...
Oh, I got the rebound. What the fuck? Chris Paul got hurt. Yeah, I remember that shit. Nigga got hurt.
Under a minute left in Game 5,
Oh,
Chris Paul...
oh, come on, 2K, that's a steal. The fuck?
And in his absence, the Rockets
steal,
are not
2K.
the same team.
Hell no. Hell no, 2K, y'all gonna give him that bullshit.
And it was very apparent. The Rockets went on to lose Game 6 and 7, and if that wasn't devastating enough, the Warriors went on to sweep the Cavs in the finals to win the NBA championship. The Rockets were 48 minutes away from the finals and almost presumably
And I'm
an
cold.
NBA title.
Off of 5.
Fell short.
Really?
All because of
Oh, send him
one
over for 2. What the fuck?
opportunity.
Alright, fuck it. I can deal with it, nigga. The fuck, I can deal with it. We winning. No, nothing.
Before the Cleveland Cavaliers ever brought a championship home in the biggest comeback in
Oh,
NBA history,
shit.
they were caught on the opposite
Let's
side
go.
of things just one season prior. In 2015, the
Anybody
Cavs
can
was
deal with being
one of the
cold
best
as me, nigga. Let's go.
With the arrival of LeBron James and Kevin Love, the power in the East had completely shifted overnight. Once again, the Cavaliers
Good
were
D.
relevant,
Let's
they
go.
were winning, and they were legitimate contenders for a title.
Oh, that's too far.
After sweeping the Boston Celtics
That's a little
in
too
the first
far. Let's
round,
go.
It was clear that the Cavs were
Oh,
they
good
had
shit.
all the tangibles of a championship.
I'm trying to
team.
get my LeBron James.
Firepower and what they lacked.
LeBron James.
They made up for with the best player on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, after the first round of the playoffs, they also lacked the help of Kevin Love. In Game 4 of the first round against the Celtics, while chasing a rebound, Love was an armbar by Kelly.
Yeah, bro, you're a little too far.
Make the WWE
You know what I'm saying? Come up in your area code, though.
from hell.
That shit was, that was that AT&T Sprint connection, bro. That was too far, bro.
But the Cavs still had LeBron, Kyrie, and the rest of the Cavs team to win it all.
I don't believe in that
Winning 8 out of their
shit.
next 10 games, including
I don't
a sweep
believe in
against
that.
the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
See, I think 2K saying give me the ball.
Would prove to be enough
But y'all
to win
tripping.
a championship.
I could be wrong, but
That is
I could be right.
Until
Oh, Kyrie falls down. Oh.
in a turn of terrible
man.
luck, just 11 games after Love went down with a season-ending injury, Kyrie Irving was sent to the locker room with one as
that's
well.
crazy.
Their big man, their
Like a
exterior
layup,
threat,
layup.
their outside threat, their killer, and 40
What the
points
fuck, we
a
missed a
night.
layup. And then turn the ball
At
over,
this
and
point,
then
it
I
was
get the
all
foul.
over
I
for
get
the
the
Cavs.
foul.
With
Ain't
two
got
of
shit to
their
do with that
3 stars
bullshit
down, the
they doing
Cavaliers still
2K.
managed to win 2 games
That's
in the
them.
finals behind a historic performance
I
by
don't believe-
LeBron,
oh,
a series that introduced us all to Matthew Dellavedova, and an entire team effort. If the
Fucking
Cavaliers
going
would have
on.
had Love and Irving, this series
We
would have
supposed to
been
be up.
very
Game's supposed to be
different.
down there. Oh,
But Kevin and Kyrie got injured, the Warriors won their first ring in the Splash Bros era, and the rest is history.
damn, good shit.
Now, this next one was the inspiration
Oh,
for the video.
fuck!
A series of events so unfortunate, so catastrophic that it seemed destined to happen. Years building up to a few key moments in time where everything would come crashing down. Fast forward nearly 3 years, and here we are. The 2019
My
NBA Finals.
fucking bad, bro.
The Toronto Raptors just made the best regular season team in the Bucks look ill-prepared and overmatched. The Warriors took a huge blow by losing KD in Game 5 against the Rockets in the second round, but in Golden State fashion, they cruised to a win in Game 6. They swept the Blazers in the Western Conference Finals, and they found themselves in the NBA Finals for the 5th straight season.
What the fuck was that?
Much has to be said about this Warriors team. They got it all, and they have rewritten NBA history right in front of us. They've seen it all and accomplished just about everything there is to accomplish.
Shit, boy.
Well,
that's motherfucking clutch season right there.
Three-peat. Only a few teams in league history have ever achieved such a feat, cemented in basketball immortality. And at the beginning of the season, the league was all but certain. Through a roller coaster of a regular season, the Warriors still finished with the most wins in the Western Conference, and for most of the season looked like they were coasting. Because we all know they have a switch that they can flip at any time. An extra gear to put themselves over the top. And the postseason looks no different. Until, of course...
Yo, damn. What up, yo? Yeah, that's all right.
And they played me. Like they always do, with 8 rebounds and 2 points. And a block. There's 2 fouls. Oh shit, I got a defensive badge or something.
Second viewing was much worse than it looked the first time around. This was hard to watch.
I'm hopping up.
KD showed the basketball world that his love for the game extends any metric we put onto him up to this point. And although Durant has been huge to the Warriors' success, we've seen them win it all without him. And this time around, they have DeMarcus Cousins at their disposal. After winning Game 5 in nail-biting fashion, the Warriors really had a shot at a comeback. They finally had a chance to truly redeem themselves after the infamous 3-1 blown lead finals. What could possibly go wrong?
Lowry gets past, falls down, wants the ball. Thompson running the floor, and a foul. And Thompson grabs his left knee. Now writhing in pain.
Yeah, blue straight.
Murray slamming the ball on the court, so upset. Green went up to block it.
And just like that, all hopes of a comeback, another title, and a three-peat were gone. In what could possibly be the most devastating 2-game stretch in playoff history, the Warriors lost their finals MVP and one of the best shooters in league history in a 72-hour stretch. For the first time in years, I found myself actually feeling bad for them. Watching KD get carried off the court, watching Klay come back after tearing his ACL to sink 2 free throws, and watching Stephen Curry do everything in his power to keep his team alive. Considering everything that led up to this point, there just really wasn't much they could do. It was a valiant effort, but like many other teams have learned before them, sometimes injuries can be a team's saving grace, and sometimes it can be their demise. All of these teams were on a path to a championship, and because of one misstep, because of one move, or one wrong decision, that championship was out of reach. And this really puts things into perspective. It takes a million right decisions and actions to win a ring, but it only takes one injury to lose a ring. Injuries that cost everything. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, until next time.
Damn. Oh, shit.
Oh.
Ah, shit. They ain't trying to give us shit. Oh, they trying to get them shit.
Getting drafted to the NBA straight out of high school is impressive, but averaging 70 points per game as a 16-year-old against professional players, you gotta see this to believe it. What's up, everybody? It's Jimmy, and at this point, we've heard so many tall tales about my man Wilt Chamberlain that I can't tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. But recently, I stumbled upon a Wilt story that absolutely blew me away. A story that I had never heard, but one that shaped the rest of Wilt's career from a very young age. But the most surprising part of this story is what most stories lack: the concrete, indisputable evidence that proves these events actually took place.
That's
Now, back in the mid-50s, regulations on amateur athletes weren't as strict as they are today. These days, an elite amateur athlete can't even shake a recruiter's hand without getting investigated. But 65 years ago, things weren't so strict. Like, let's say, I don't know, a 7'16" Wilt Chamberlain dominating professional basketball players under a fake identity. Yes, this actually happened, and yes, there is physical evidence to prove it. But before we dive straight into this unbelievable story, we have to fast forward to 2013, when two men by the name of Carl Robb and Jim Rosh uncovered one of the biggest secrets in NBA history. Carl, the mayor of a small community by the name of Richland Town in Pennsylvania, has heard a rumor that the town's community center may be home to one of the most mysterious and historic events in basketball. A local resident hinted at the fact that the small gym was the exact location where a young Wilt Chamberlain illegally played professional basketball at just 16 years old. So, in hopes to uncover the truth, Carl looked for any signs that the community center may be the old basketball court. But, unfortunately, he couldn't find any significant physical evidence. He did happen to locate the brackets where the hoops used to hang, but he knew this wasn't enough to prove anything. But it seems like that day Carl's stars aligned, because a local man by the name of Jim Rosh had heard about his hunt and provided Carl with a first-hand account and evidence that would explain everything. Jim Rosh, now in his 80s, was none other than the scorekeeper for the professional team that played in Richland Town, then known as the Quakertown Fade. And 60 years later, Rosh still had score sheets, pictures, and newspaper articles dating back to the mid-50s that would reveal more than anyone was expecting. A 16-year-old Wilt was not only playing against professional basketball players, he was dominating them. One score sheet in particular shows that Chamberlain racked up 46 points and 18 rebounds in one game. In fact, Wilt led that pro team to a 36-1 record. This was when Wilt was a junior in high school. What was thought to be a myth was actually uncovered to be fact by a man that witnessed Wilt with his very own eyes. But if that wasn't crazy enough, here's where the story gets really weird. By the following season, in 1954, Wilt was now receiving considerable attention around the country. As a senior at Overbrook High School in Philadelphia, Wilt was by far the best high school player in the country, and everyone was taking notice. Everyone knew who Wilt Chamberlain was, but prior to that breakout season, Wilt was still just a local legend. so local that in an effort to retain his amateur status, will play the entire 53-54 season under a fake identity. Chamberlain's fake name that season was George Marcus. Hold on real quick. Gotta make a few changes. And actually, I want to take a second to point out this news article that has aged so terribly it makes me uncomfortable. George Marcus, giant Negro center. Boy, how far we've come. Anyways, Wilt Chamberlain not only played and excelled in a professional basketball league as a 16-year-old, he was playing so good that he even had to change his name for a season so that he could continue to play for the team. In fact, over the past few years, numerous articles have been dug up that specifically mention a 16-year-old near 7-foot-tall George Marcus that was completely shitting on the competition. There's one article in particular that specifically states that Wilt played under the fake name during his time in Richmond Town. And just like his NBA career, Wilt was putting up numbers that, once again, are so incredible that they might as well just be made up. In the 1954-55 season, Chamberlain, or should I say George Marcus, averaged an absurd 54 points per game. And if that wasn't crazy enough, during the playoffs, Wilt really stepped his game up and averaged...
Turn your mama off, nigga.
Get off the court, boss.
Turn your mama off the court, nigga.
Yep. In the 6 playoff games he played that season,
Spin your mama off the block, nigga.
74 points per game. This includes a 62-point game against 6'11" Andy Maddox, a phenomenal player who previously played for the Harlem Globetrotters, who at the time were almost as good as some NBA teams. Needless to say, the 17-year-old Wilt won league MVP that season. And lucky for Wilt, it turned out that the Pennsylvania Athletic Association didn't have jurisdiction over the city schools at the time, so Wilt could play for the professional Quakertown phase without losing his amateur eligibility. Nonetheless, a few years later, while shooting on the entire NCAA, when asked about playing in a professional league as a high schooler, Wilt denied the entire thing. Crazy to think that after all these years, one of the most spectacular NBA careers of all time, and hundreds of unbelievable stories, not many people know or have spoken about Wilt's time in a professional basketball league as a kid. And before I wrap this video up, I want to give a huge shout out to Reddit user u/DanTheMan9758 for his incredible research on the topic. I don't use Reddit for video topics often, but this one was too good to pass up on. So thank you, Dan the Man, for your insightful research. Also, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We're doing this every week, a few times a week. And as always, until next time.
Sunday's the day.
I got plans. Suddenly got band tickets? So before you guys even ask, yes,
I am a Pelicans fan, and I was here before Zion Williamson got on the team. I was also here before Anthony Davis got on the team, and in the Anthony Davis era, I had the pleasure of experiencing incredible expectations and immediate letdown. Injury after injury after injury summed up the Anthony Davis saga in New Orleans. But it wasn't just Anthony Davis who was getting injured. It was everybody around him. To say the least, the Pelicans' injury luck sucked. But that wasn't the only thing that sucked. The Pelicans had a lot of problems. In 2016, the Pelicans would draft Buddy Hield, and immediately, I didn't know how to feel. Buddy Hield was a prolific scorer in college, and he was a sharpshooter who seemed to be the perfect player for today's NBA. But he did have some concerns about being able to get a shot off. Regardless, Buddy was easily a guy I could talk myself into, and I could see the upside. After all, I didn't dislike Buddy Hield. I just loved Jamal Murray, who was also like 5 years younger, and would have seemed to be a perfect fit in Alvin Gentry's system. Regardless, Buddy starts out his career struggling with the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans end up trading Buddy Hield to the Sacramento Kings for all-NBA big man DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, the DeMarcus Cousins. This trade was supposed to send New Orleans into a new era. The pair started off struggling, but it didn't take long to see the vision. And if you ask me, I think DeMarcus was more symbolic and more of a New Orleans-type player than Anthony Davis ever was. DeMarcus was one with the culture, and he was instantly a fan favorite. Don't get me wrong, we loved Anthony Davis. But this pairing, this was supposed to be special, and it was. Until January 26, 2018. On this dreadful day, Boogie tore his Achilles. And just like that, the dream was dead. The unfortunate thing is, you could kind of see the injury coming. But as long as things work, we don't really see the desire to fix them, right? A guy that big, a guy DeMarcus Cousins' size, probably was not meant to play basketball the way he was in New Orleans. To Alvin Gentry's tribute, he did slow the game down for DeMarcus Cousins. But in general, the Pelicans play a very fast style of basketball. And even with Boogie in the game, the Pelicans were one of the faster teams in the league. With Boogie out of the game, they were at the very top of the list for pace in the NBA. Things get a lot worse. You have to look at Boogie's usage percentage. But not only his percentage, also the fashion in which he was being used. This could be one of the biggest factors of everything. Boogie was not a traditional big man, no. He played like a guard. And I mean that in a literal sense. Boogie was an actual point center in New Orleans. And while it did make for exciting basketball, I'm just not sure Boogie's body design was built to sustain that type of play style. Now, you guys may be familiar with another prospect in New Orleans right now who goes by the name of Zion Williamson. Well, Zion has some of those same exact concerns. But regardless, he's still one of the most polarizing prospects the NBA has ever seen. We've never seen a guy this big, this fast, this strong. Zion Williamson is 6'6", almost 300 pounds. The crazy thing is that Zion Williamson said he didn't pick up all this weight until about his junior year of high school. He said he gained 100 pounds in just about 2 years. It's crazy to think that somebody like Zion Williamson could still be figuring out their body, could still get a lot better. This whole thing is something that's still relatively new to Zion. Before Zion's injury in the preseason, Zion looked dominant, and it didn't look like anybody had any idea how to stop him. And I mean, how could you? How could you guard somebody so big, so fast, so strong, and so powerful? It's a tough task for anybody in the NBA. Even the defensive player of the year, like Rudy Gobert. And I don't want to take anything away from Zion's craftiness, because I think that's truly what propels him to the next level as a basketball player. His creativity is phenomenal, and his heart is unmatched. This video, we're going to be talking about how the Pelicans are hiding the truth about Zion Williamson. But that's not all. The Pelicans have gotten away with a lot, and we're going to discuss it in this video. But be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, guys. You will not want to miss another D-Coop video, and that's facts. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subscribers so I can go full time. So be sure to subscribe so I can bring you guys daily content. I'm actually finally out of school right now, so it's about to be a cold winter. I've been seeing requests on videos that you guys want, and I want you guys to continue leaving those down in the comments below because I'm going to bring those to you. The Ja Morant video is coming very soon, but I want to wait for him to get back active. Now, upcoming this weekend, we have James Harden, we have Luka Doncic, and we're going to do a Lonzo Ball video. But also, guys, be sure to follow me on Instagram, handle G-Like-Coop. You will not want to miss another post. And yes, I did finally get my first post up. When Zion Williamson was drafted to New Orleans, the Pelicans saw a major spike in interest. The Pelicans were selling out games. That's really hard for a New Orleans basketball team to do. We know New Orleans loves the Saints more than anything. It's been a football city for the longest. And that can go back to the early roots of New Orleans having its basketball team taken from them and being given a name like the Pelicans. New Orleans Jazz makes a lot of sense, and it resonates with the city. While the Pelican is the state bird of Louisiana, it's just not a fun logo to have. Anyways, Zion was set to change the narrative that was around New Orleans basketball. It was the first time in a really long time that I could say that I could see New Orleans becoming a basketball city. With Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and all of the new faces, Jackson Hayes, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and again, Zion Williamson, the Pelicans were able to get major interest in their practices. Their practices were looking as good as games, and everybody was watching them. They wanted to see what Zion Williamson was going to do. They wanted to see Lonzo Ball throwing the lobs. It was a magical time for the city. The Pelicans took note of this, and I'm sure they wanted to capitalize. They were taking advantage of the whole Zion experience. They were selling Zion, and it was working until Zion got hurt. That's when I figured the Pelicans had to figure out a way to stall things for a little bit until Zion would be able to return. To keep the hype really high, the initial belief behind Zion's injury is that it was a very, very minor one, and that it would be a week-to-week injury. I remember because I did a video on this. Whether the reports were wrong or the Pelicans just flat-out leaked the wrong reports, it was much more than just a week-to-week injury. And as a matter of fact, throughout this whole process, the Pelicans have been anything but clear. And this could simply be to hide what is much more concerning about Zion Williamson. But on the other hand, it
Is it a grand city or a homage to timeless art? Explore the grandeur and the wisdom of the king. Welcome to our first.
It could be to shield Zion Williamson from some of the hate that he could get if he actually did have a long-term injury. Just a week ago, Reggie Miller said that Zion was supposed to return mid-December. Well, he was quickly corrected, and the initial timetable has now been extended. Gentry said, I think Zion's fine. I don't think it's anything that can be rushed. It's a time thing. 6 weeks is what we said, but, I mean, obviously he's making progress. When the time comes for him to start on-court activities and things like that, he will. It's not anything that's going to be rushed. It's just a matter of taking the time to make sure he's fine. Gentry went on to say that he's itching to return, but sometimes you have to protect basketball players from themselves. We're not just going to put him back out there. We're going to be overly cautious about it and make sure that he's 100%. Gentry went on to emphasize that he wants to be overly cautious and that there's no date in mind. So there's a legit chance that Zion does not play a game this season. I mean, the Pelicans have been spiraling as of late, and I mean, I think Zion would help save the season, but would it even be worth it? If Zion has truly been hurt, he could have the Joel Embiid effect go on where he can't work out because he's hurt. When Joel Embiid was hurt, he just simply couldn't condition himself. It was kind of a cause and effect type thing, and it made life really hard for Embiid to get back into shape. But that brings up another issue. Do the Pelicans actually believe that Zion is not in basketball shape? Or more so, do they actually believe that Zion's weight could be a possible issue and a cause for concern regarding further injury? Pelicans VP David Griffin said the notion that this happened because Zion is in poor condition is asinine. Regarding Zion's injury, he says that the weight is not a cause for concern or not a cause for the injury. The VP actually said you don't want him to be lighter at the expense of the strength he needs to control himself. But in David Griffin's defense, he has said there have been no setbacks and that Zion could still return in the original 6 to 8 week timeline. He says if he does it, that means there have not been setbacks, but that means he has not reached where the Pelicans want him to be before he returns. He says that Zion Williamson is a unique athlete, he's a unique player. He's 285, he's currently in a party of one. He also said that when Zion does return, he plans to load manage him. He said he wants to make sure everything is right with Zion. He wants to make sure he's ready for the course of an NBA season. He said he really wants to get Zion back in the playing shape, but that his weight was absolutely not a problem. I'm interested to know what you guys think on this whole situation. Apparently, if you want to get through the transparency, you just have to ask David Griffin himself. Be sure to click the video on the screen, guys. As we going over the next step for the New York Knicks, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm the Coop, and I'm out.
No, but last hoorah, yes.
Are you treat him any differently than the other guys?
Hell no. Oh, I treat them all the same.
What makes him different?
What makes him different? Probably how crazy he is. He's an athlete. He shoots a lot like Jello, but he runs the team like so. He mixes them together. He's the coldest one. Now, taking a long run, he's the coldest one because his mind is super strong. Melo's doing whatever he can do. Like people coming in on the outside, his mind's strong. I get on him on purpose to see if he don't break. If he won't break.
This clip is nearly 3 years old. LeVar Ball telling the world that his youngest son will eventually be better than his older brothers. Here we are in December of 2019, and just last week in an interview, LaMelo said that he is better than Lonzo. He didn't say that he was going to be better. LaMelo said that he is better, but LeVar already told us this would happen back in 2017. Of course, when LaMelo says this, it's shrugged off as brothers being brothers, giving each other a hard time. If you're familiar with the Ball brothers, you know that talking trash to each other is one of their strong suits. But unlike their usual trash talk, this time, I don't think LaMelo is joking. In fact, I think Melo and nearly everyone in his corner truly believes that he is better than Lonzo. LiAngelo has said it, Lonzo's best friend has said it, and even Lonzo himself has said it. So how much truth is there to this statement? I mean, although Lonzo hasn't got his NBA career off to the best start, he was ranked as the 4th best recruit in his class after averaging a triple-double as a senior. He was the 2nd overall pick in the NBA draft as a 19-year-old one-and-done, and he has shown to have the potential to be an impact player in the league one day. How much better can LaMelo possibly be? Well, that depends. If we are talking about who has the potential to be the better player, that's hard to say. But for now, let's assess who is the better player today. An 18-year-old LaMelo Ball 1 year into his pro career, or a 22-year-old Lonzo Ball in his 3rd NBA season. Well, first, let's discuss the most obvious difference in their game, skill set. Lonzo is a pass-first point guard who struggles with shooting the ball but makes up the difference with his vision on the offensive end and his suffocating defense. LaMelo is a shooting guard who looks to score first, has the green light to shoot wherever and whenever, and is subpar on the defensive end. Lonzo's game is rooted in his timing, his athleticism, and overall ability to make things happen as a facilitator on the offensive end. He loves to get his teammates involved. LaMelo doesn't possess the athletic ability that his brother has, but he makes up for it with his dexterity and coordination. He has a better handle, he is elite in ISO situations, and although his shooting form is just as awkward as Lonzo's, he has the mentality of a shooter. What they have in common is their vision and their overall feel for the game. However, although their skill sets appear to contrast one another, the way they utilize these skills creates production that is actually strikingly similar. At first glance, these two brothers seem to have polar opposite games. But when you take a closer look, this isn't exactly true. Here are Lonzo's numbers from his first and only season in college. A brief reflection of his overall game. An all-around talent with an emphasis on passing. And here are LaMelo's numbers from his first season in the NBL. Sure, it's not the best league on the planet, but it falls somewhere between the NCAA and the NBA. Contrary to the narrative that has been created, their games are actually very similar, with the exception that LaMelo loves to shoot the ball. From their points, to assists, to rebounds, and their steals. Of course, basic stats don't show us the entire picture, but it definitely gives us some context. LaMelo watched his older brother dominate every level of basketball heading into the NBA, so it's only natural that he has shaped his game after his brothers. And for more context, here are Lonzo's numbers from his rookie season in the NBA for comparison. Again, eerily similar, besides, of course, how they get their buckets. And although LaMelo's shooting is commonly seen as an aspect of his game that surpasses his brothers, Lonzo was always an efficient and capable scorer leading up to his NBA career. In fact, Lonzo led the Pac-12 in effective field goal percentage as a freshman at UCLA. It wasn't until he got to the league that he began to struggle. So, who knows if LaMelo will face the same obstacle when he arrives to the league as well. So in terms of skill set, they are more similar than we have been led to believe, and at the moment, I would say they are evenly matched. The next aspect of their game we need to assess is their size. Both LaMelo and Lonzo have great size for their positions, Lonzo being a 6'6" point guard and LaMelo being a 6'8" shooting guard. But where I give the edge to Melo is the fact that it is said that he is still growing. Whether this is true or not, well, who knows? But as an 18-year-old, Melo already has a similar stature to his 22-year-old brother, plus 2 inches. And if you've watched his game evolve throughout the last season, it's clear that he's learned how to use that extra size to his advantage. How he'll fill out and continue to grow over the next few years is a mystery, but at the moment, the edge goes to LaMelo.
Life doesn't update you about your credit card, so meet email, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong and helps you fix them. What's in your wallet?
Next, we are going to take a look at their resume. Now, Lonzo has a few years on Melo, so this is a bit one-sided, but again, we are trying to determine who is the better player at the moment. And at the age of 22, Lonzo's basketball resume is loaded. To go along with his high school national championship, his Naismith Player of the Year award, and an NBA All-Rookie Second Team honor, Lonzo's resume is about as deep as it gets as a 22-year-old. Although not nearly as illustrious, LaMelo has amassed a resume of his own throughout the past few seasons as well. We all remember his 92-point game in high school, but what some may not know is that LaMelo was actually the youngest American ever to sign a professional basketball contract. Add that to his 5-star recruit status in high school and his National Freshman of the Year award, and at 18, LaMelo's resume is impressive as well. Lonzo is a player that has been proven through every level of the game, whereas LaMelo is your classic case of a hooper who simply passes the eye test. He's got all the tangibles that fortunately do not need any accolades to back up. Of course, being the younger brother of a number 2 overall pick does help attract some attention. So in the case of experience and accomplishments, the edge goes to Zoe. Now, although I want to focus on the present, we cannot talk about these two players without discussing their potential. Because where Lonzo has the advantage on LaMelo with his resume, Melo has the advantage on Zoe with his youth. The most interesting aspect of Melo's game is his potential, and although this is still relatively unknown, it does play a factor in this equation. As we previously touched on, LaMelo is an 18-year-old pro basketball player with excellent size and length. In fact, those who followed the Ball brothers early in their rise remember that LaMelo actually skipped a grade to play high school ball with his brothers, which means age-wise, he should be wrapping up his senior year in high school right now. Melo is projected to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft, and he should still be in high school. Add that to the fact that when you watch him play, he is clearly the best player on the court on every level he has played so far. He makes passes that no 18-year-old should be able to make. He already has the confidence to push his game to the next level, something that Lonzo severely lacks. He has all the tools his brother possesses at this very moment, aside from Lonzo's elevated IQ. Which begs the question, with the right coaching, the right system, and more experience under his belt, how much more will LaMelo continue to expand onto his game? This is important to consider because history has shown every time Melo rises up a level in competition, he seems to get better. Not better in general, but better relative to his competition. He's one of those athletes that continues to step up every time his name is called. His game is improving at an exponential rate. Beyond the friends and family that have seen his game evolve first person, this is why scouts and analysts prefer him long-term over his brother. His potential to be the complete package at the NBA level is there. As far as Lonzo's potential, he has displayed the ability to be a solid contributor at the NBA level. He is now early in his third season and is already getting talks as one of the elite guard defenders in the entire league. But because we have a decent sample size of what to expect from Zoe, the ambiguity has disappeared. I think most knowledgeable NBA fans can make a fairly accurate prediction of what is to come from Lonzo. On the other hand, LaMelo displays the tangibles and intangibles to be a difference maker at the next level. But only time will tell. So in terms of potential, the edge goes to LaMelo, which leads us right into our last factor, talent. Now, talent is an interesting facet of this evaluation, because this all depends on how you define talent. On the basketball court, is it a player's ability to make his teammates better? Is it his leadership, his competitiveness, skill? What about raw ability? Or a combination of all these things and countless others? Well, the way I see it, talent is the culmination of everything a player is and does. From his athleticism to his discipline to his coachability. Throughout Lonzo's basketball career, he has shown to have every single one of these components to his game. He's a great athlete. He is disciplined and wise beyond his years in terms of basketball. Although he has yet to do it in the NBA, he has shown that he can lead a team and be the go-to guy. The vision, the tenacity, although wavering in tough times, it's all there. The kid has started in 103 of the 110 NBA games he has played in. The talent is there. A more compelling question is, to what extent? Does Lonzo have the talent to be a factor on a winning team and one day become an all-star level guard? Possibly. But with all that being said, I truly believe LaMelo is the more talented player right now. He has the vision and passing ability of an elite guard. He has the confidence and shooting ability of a great shooting guard, although his poor decision-making has led his numbers to reflect a different story. He's not scared to go inside and grab boards amongst big men, and he has the length to do so. But possibly more important than all of these things, he has that incalculable, immeasurable, can't quite put my finger on it, but you know it when you see it, aspect of his game. He possesses the gift. That intangible thing you see in every superstar that doesn't just define their game, it defines who they are. He's had it ever since he was a 13-year-old playing for a high school national championship. He had it when he pulled up from half court in the middle of a game. He had it when he dropped 92 points in 40 minutes. He had it when he became the youngest player in NBL history to record a triple-double. And it's what makes him the incredibly gifted player that he is. So, after evaluating all 5 factors, who is the better player, Lonzo or LaMelo? Well, if you ask me, it's LaMelo. In the past, friends, family, fans, and teammates of the Ball brothers have all suggested that one day, Melo would be the best. But I think that day came a lot sooner than we were all anticipating. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below. Has LaMelo already surpassed Lonzo on the court, or does he have more to prove before he can take the title as the best Ball brother? share your ideas. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to your boy. It really helps out the channel. And as always, until next time.
Melo Ball, one of the top freshmen in the nation. And you're widely considered one of the best players in the 2019 class. It's rare for a freshman to have that label.
With the ball situation, it became so much about personality, and it was larger than life. But then we started to discuss, and in a lot of ways, they started to move like the other two guys were already in the league, but they weren't. So when you send them overseas to play against older guys, they're not necessarily as dominant as you want them to be. They don't have the results that you felt they should have.
LaMelo Ball was a sophomore in high school, ranked as a top 10 player in his class, and arguably the best point guard of any player his age in the entire country. Fast forward 2 years, and LaMelo was just offered his first and only college scholarship offer, with just 5 months left in his high school career, to a small D1 college. In fact, LaMelo Ball isn't even the best player on his own team. Things didn't go quite as well as we once may have thought. But why? If you take a second to look past all the antics, the headlines, the GOAT, his father LeVar, it's pretty obvious that LaMelo Ball is a solid D1 prospect. Matter of fact, scratch that. LaMelo Ball, a 6'7" lengthy court general, isn't just a potential D1 hooper. He's one of the best players in his entire class. Right? When you look at the whole picture, his potential, his incredible growth this year both in stature and athleticism, this seems like a no-brainer. But just to be sure, let's take a closer look at Melo. Why and where his decline began, and if it's too late for him to recover from this steep fall-off in the eyes of the public, the media, and recruiters. By now, it seems like LaMelo has been in the spotlight for what seems like years. And that's because, well, it has been years. In the early months of 2016, we got our first glimpse at LaMelo Ball. Way back when he was a 14-year-old freshman starting on the best high school basketball team in the country in Chino Hills. To be fair, the cameras were only there because of Lonzo, but the icing on the cake was watching this young, twitchy, 5'8" freshman ball out on some of the best teams in California. At the time, there were rumors floating around that Melo would end up being the best of the three brothers. His father said it, Lonzo said it, and to no one's surprise, LaMelo himself said it. But honestly, if you watch these old highlights, that wouldn't surprise you too much. He played the game like he was born with a basketball in his hand. He could slow the game down and speed it back up virtually at will. As a 14-year-old kid playing varsity basketball, he was on the same wavelength as his brothers, one of them being 4 years older than him and 1 year away from the NBA. Simply put, he passed the eye test, and the talk of potential was more than just hype. It was completely legit. Everyone speculated that he would become one of the best high school players in the country, and that never quite happened since he dropped out of high school before his junior season even began. But a 92-point game, a top 10 national ranking, a state championship, and a national championship in just his first 2 seasons of high school, I'd say the predictions were correct. At a young age, recruiters speculated that his game would eventually reflect Lonzo's. And although he has strayed away from his natural point guard abilities in the past, with his 35 shots per game and 40-foot bombs, this season it seems like he has focused in on his natural court general-like talents. The vision, the ability to turn a rebound into a fast break at any moment, the skills to take over games in other ways than just scoring, and the maturity to know when not to. It's very reminiscent of Lonzo. For a while there, I was skeptical about Melo's athleticism, considering Lonzo was a freak athlete. But then he comes out and does stuff like this and reassures me that he is every bit of an elite athlete. And the last and most eye-opening development that fans predicted was his insane growth spurt. From 5'8" his freshman season, to 6'1" his sophomore season, to 6'4" last season, and now, unbelievably, Vans is 6'7". 6'7". But I mean, it kind of makes sense. His dad is 6'5", LiAngelo is 6'5", and Lonzo is 6'6". So, yeah, we should have all seen this coming. Still, it feels like yesterday that he was just that short kid that needed all the space in the world to get a shot off in a high school basketball game. Now, as a 6'7" point guard, LaMelo has elite height for his position even at NBA standards. The only point guards in the entire league that are taller than him are Ben Simmons and Isaac Bonga. Even crazier, there is only one shooting guard in the entire NBA that is taller than Melo, which means that LaMelo Ball is now taller than 99% of all NBA guards. So, I'd say the speculation regarding his potential height was pretty accurate. Keep in mind, LaMelo is actually only supposed to be a junior right now. LeVar reclassified him back in 8th grade so he could play in high school with his brothers. So at this point, he could very well keep growing. And when you look at just how far he has come and how high his ceiling truly is, it's easy to see why he was once ranked as the best point guard in the class of 2019 in the entire country. And yet here we are in 2019, and LaMelo is nowhere to be found on any ranking leaderboard. Not on Rivals, not on ESPN, not on 24/7 Sports. As a 13-year-old, he was legitimately verbally committed to UCLA and had interest from Virginia and Washington State. Now, as a senior in high school, he has one offer. One scholarship offer to Alabama A&M, a relatively small D1 program. On January 27, 2017, ESPN released an article ranking LaMelo as the 8th best player in his class, just a few spots behind R.J. Barrett. And yet, one of these players is going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft in a few months, and the other could possibly be playing ball at a mid-level college basketball program. To add insult to injury, after UCLA suspended LiAngelo Ball last season, LeVar had the audacity to go out of his way and say that LaMelo would never play for UCLA, which I guess is perfectly okay with Melo, since according to him, the list of schools he would like to attend is short and filled with blue-chip talent. Now, Barrett's development has nothing to do with Melo, but considering both of them were top recruits and both have expanded and developed their game immensely in the past 2 seasons, it's eye-opening to see just how different their situations are. 2 years ago, RJ was still a relatively unknown high school hooper. 2 years ago, LaMelo dropped 92 points in a game, became the most famous 15-year-old on the planet, and set the basketball world on fire. As a 15-year-old, some people considered him to be the best player of any age in all of California. Now, Melo isn't even the best player on his own team. Spire Academy, where LaMelo now plays, is also home to Mark Watts, a 4-star recruit, Michigan State commit, and the 6th best point guard in the country. It's also home to Isaiah Jackson, a 5-star recruit and one of the best players in the entire country. And when you look at the path LaMelo has taken, from dropping out of high school, to playing overseas, to playing in his own father's basketball league and averaging 40, 15, 11, and 4 a game, it's not hard to figure out what's going on here. LeVar Ball was beyond confident that LaMelo would be a generational talent. LeVar was making moves and stirring the pot knowing that he would have LaMelo and even Lonzo as leverage. He literally didn't care if Melo played college ball. He actually believed that his son would be such an overwhelming talent that his route to the NBA wouldn't need high school or college ball. In fact, in August of last year, when discussing LaMelo's college eligibility, LeVar said, "We'll worry about it when we get there. Who cares? If he can't play, then he can't play. It doesn't mean he'll stop working out and getting better. Maybe in 2 years they'll change the rule and he'll be able to make it to the NBA straight out of high school." But one thing he forgot to consider out of all of this is that LaMelo was never guaranteed to be the talent we once thought he would be. But here's the thing. I honestly believe that LaMelo has developed into much more than we thought he would. Regardless of the picture that has been painted about his talents or lack thereof, LaMelo Ball is every bit of a blue-chip, 5-star prospect we once thought he was. And his full potential is still unknown. Like I said, once you look past the antics, the media, the hype, and just watch the kid play ball, he's got all the tools to be a future draft pick. He may not be Lonzo, but let's not forget, Lonzo was the second best high schooler in the country by his senior season and the second overall pick in the NBA draft. But instead of fighting for a future draft pick spot, LaMelo is fighting for a scholarship to play college basketball. But that's the thing. Melo is very much good enough to play within any college program. So why is he not getting any offers? Well, the answer may be much more than you think. Realistically, LaMelo won't even be able to play college basketball. I know it's something that we all just assumed would come next, but really, think about what's taken place over the past year. LaMelo hired an agent, which in itself is enough to forfeit an athlete's amateur status. But recent NCAA rule changes might allow for the family to protest. Starting this season, high school players may work with an agent, provided that they have been identified as elite by USA Basketball. But USA Basketball has never quite defined LaMelo as elite. He also had his own signature shoe. When Big Baller Brand announced LaMelo Ball's signature shoe, the NB1, in August of 2017, his future college eligibility immediately came into question. And of course, his eligibility will depend on how the NCAA interprets Big Baller Brand. Is the company considered a family business, or is this player making money off of his own image? And finally, and most important, LaMelo played pro basketball in Lithuania. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on the subject, but I'm pretty sure if there's one thing that will make you lose your college eligibility, it's playing a professional sport. But according to LeVar, they did not accept any money when they played overseas, so his amateur status should still be intact. But he did sign a contract, and according to the NCAA, if an athlete signs a contract, whether he gets paid or not, he is a professional. So, quite honestly, the likelihood that LaMelo will even get to play college basketball is very, very slim. Where he wants to go to college, his family's feud with UCLA, his incredible potential, and the fact that he only has one college offer on the table is completely irrelevant if the NCAA deems him ineligible. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the next few months go for the young Hooper. But regardless of the outcome, my mind is made up about Melo. He is a certified baller. He's a 17-year-old, 6'7", lengthy floor general with underrated athleticism and a ceiling higher than his NBA lottery pick older brother. The tools are there. Now, if he chooses to use them and become the player he has the potential to be, is up to him. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time. Michael Jordan's unprecedented value, the GM that finessed an entire franchise, and Draymond Green's unbelievable NBA record. You may want to take a seat before hearing some of these. What's up everybody, it's Jimmy, and today I'm bringing our 4th installment of the Craziest Facts videos. One of the reasons why I started this channel was because I enjoyed reading about these absurd numbers and events so much that I wanted to share them with other basketball fans. And as you can clearly see, I really appreciate a good fact. So here are 17 of the most ridiculous NBA facts you've never heard of before. Be sure to stick around until the end for some numbers that may blow your mind. This past week, we saw the conclusion to an exciting month of college basketball with some of the best young talent the game has to offer. Well, young talents, but not as young as Luka Doncic, who is younger than 8 of the 10 starters from this year's NCAA championship game. One of the most important and impressive feats a player can accomplish in sports is winning when it matters most. Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the finals. Robert Horry, 7-0 in the finals. John Havlicek, 8-0 in the finals. But surprisingly, a lot of players have perfect finals records. In fact, if you had to make a guess as to how many players have a perfect finals record, what would be your guess? 5? 10? Maybe 15? Try 66. 66 players in NBA history have a perfect finals record. Of course, 6-0 in the finals is infinitely more impressive than making it to one finals and winning that one, but nonetheless, this came as a bit of a shock. In 1986, the Chicago Bulls finished the season with a record of 30-52 and still made the playoffs. To put this anomaly in perspective, last season the Denver Nuggets won 46 games and missed the playoffs. Dennis Rodman was a one-of-a-kind player, a 6'7" rebounding monster. In fact, Dennis Rodman was so dominant at grabbing boards that he led the league in rebounding for 7 straight seasons. But that isn't the most surprising aspect about this man's incredible ability. Rodman didn't lead the league in rebounding until he was 30 years old, and continued to lead the league in rebounding until he was 37.
Did your lady what?
He also led the league in boards in 1993 despite missing 20 games.
Did she use the bathroom?
Out of the last 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Bro. The move. Look at that shit they left on my mother. No, I'm just saying, how you gonna move and leave that shit like that?
They did some black people.
White people nasty as fuck, bro. Look at that shit. Bro, hey, tell us the second door on the left.
Last time I came, I said, damn. But I told her, I was like, there was some white folks that stayed right there.
Crackers, bro.
And they ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Hell no, that should be against the law, shouldn't it? Yeah, the second door on the left. Ain't it? Ain't give a fuck, bro.
Over the hump. To happen, it has to happen behind the scenes. Man, they call Shea. He could have after his freshman year. That's right. He has a chance to cement his legacy.
He is the storyline for sure in this one.
Yes, he is.
What the f*** are you doing? This man spent 2.5 quarters running back and forth. 29 minutes running back and forth. Then again, Joel Anthony is an NBA champion, so props to that man. And while we're on the topic of big men, I just recently made a video of one of the biggest men in league history, Yao Ming. And among other impressive feats Yao had accomplished, one of the most impressive was his induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Not that he was inducted, but rather how unbelievably quick he was inducted. Yao Ming made it into the Hall of Fame just 14 years after his rookie season and just 5 years after he retired. This may not sound crazy, but consider this. Sidney Moncrief, a player in this year's class of Basketball Hall of Fame inductees, started his NBA career 40 years ago. Another player in this year's class, Jack Sikma, was a rookie 41 years ago. Paul Westphal is another player that made it into the Hall of Fame this year, and his rookie season was 47 years ago. In fact, Yao Ming holds the record for the shortest amount of time since his NBA debut to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. For comparison, look at these legends and how long after their rookie season it took them to make it into the Hall of Fame. Huge accomplishment from a huge guy. Now, I'll leave y'all with this. In Michael Jordan's 13 seasons and 930 regular season games with the Chicago Bulls, he only scored single-digit points in a game once. Even crazier, in that single-digit point game, he was recovering from a broken foot, played only 16 minutes, and had 9 points. Which led me to ask the question, where do some of the best scorers of all time land on the list of consecutive games with double-digit scoring? So here's a chart that maps out some of those players. At the bottom, you have a couple active players like Giannis at 120, D. Wade with a streak of 148 games, DeMarcus Cousins with 162. As you work your way up this chart, you'll see some big names. Legends that put on some of the greatest scoring streaks in league history. Kobe had a streak of 211 games, Iverson, Shaq. Harden is on an active streak that is now up to an absurd 340 games. Keep going up the chart and you'll find Moses Malone, Karl Malone. Kevin Durant had a ridiculous streak of 562 games that came to an end in 2017. But way up there at the top, above everyone else, is Michael Jordan with 866 consecutive games with double-digit scoring. But wait. One name is missing from this list. I think there's one player I left out. Oh yeah, there he is. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time. Was the second time we played Kobe Street. Made a bet. 35 plus easy against this. That's my 35 plus. What? They was like, oh no, G8. Like, that's hot now. Thanos is coming for you. 35. This is a clip from the No Chill podcast with Gilbert Arenas. Arenas talks about the time he made a bet with a teammate that he would drop 35 points on a prime Kobe Bryant in their next matchup. This was a first-team all-defense for 5 consecutive seasons, Kobe Bryant. Pre-injury, 35 points a game, Kobe Bryant. And here, Arenas is making a promise that he will score 35 of it. Well, I mean, he might as well just grab a shovel and dig his own grave. One does not simply disrespect the Black Mamba and live to tell the tale. And to make matters worse, Arenas made this bet just weeks after he went berserk and dropped 60 on Kobe in Staples Center. With the stakes this high, with another player challenging his competitiveness and defensive greatness, you would think Kobe would come into their next matchup ready to stop Arenas from even touching the ball. We are talking about the best perimeter defender in the entire NBA in the prime of his career. Kobe is going to be stalking this man. He is not going to let this man breathe.
Gilbert Arenas, the players around him. Gilbert Arenas. Long one. Arenas
have ever played, Agent Zero went at Kobe Bryant and fulfilled his promise to score 35 plus on the Black Mamba. And although Arenas has scored 35 plus points 60 times in his career, according to him, this was by far the best game of his entire career. This is coming from the same man who just came off of scoring 60 on Kobe. But Arenas said this time was different, since not only did he tell Kobe he would score 35 plus, he did it on an angry Kobe Bryant seeking revenge.
The reason that was more important is I have the baddest man on the planet gunning for me. Blood for blood. Oh, he wants revenge because of what I did.
At that point, you respect the.
So now, that game is to put me in check. The 60 was just a whole lot of things that went together. 35 after a man is like he's after me is more important. 37.
Every wireless carrier claims they can save you money, but Spectrum Mobile's online savings calculator tells you exactly how much your family can save by switching.
Ah, the save calc. What? The save count. You brought it up.
To see how much you can save, go to SpectrumMobile.com/save.
Calling your game on a first-team all-defensive player, on Kobe Bryant himself, is a feat that no one would ever even consider attempting. Well, no one except No Chill Gil. Because it's one thing to talk trash while you're heating up, but to call your opponent out days before the game, to tell him just how bad you're going to burn him down to the exact number of points, and then go out and actually do it, is a completely different level of savage. Like when Joel... Hold up. I'm having some issues with my audio. Just give me a second. It's gotta be the audio from the channel. I'm stupid. What am I doing? Now I look stupid. The audio might... Why do I keep talking? I'm so stupid. Why? Why didn't I do more research? I'm so stupid. How did my parents birth somebody this stupid? You know what? A couple weeks ago, we dealt with some audio issues. I'd like to apologize. Your boy is still living in 2010. But worry no longer because Raycon wireless earbuds are here to fix them. Raycon wireless earbuds have generously sent me a pair of their E25 headphones and brothers. You have got to get yourself a pair. These things are incredible. And check this out. Raycon earbuds are at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. So you're getting exceptional listening quality at a price you just can't beat. Their latest model, the one they sent me, the E25, is their best one yet. With 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolation fit, you can experience your favorite audio at the highest, most premium quality. Sorry. They come in a full range of colors and patterns, and their sleek design doesn't have any wires or stems. So do yourself a favor and head over to buyraycon.com/highroller and get yourself a pair today.
Against Drummond. Joel Embiid hit and fouled. Andre Drummond just fouled out of the game. And Joel Embiid waving his...
You see this? This is Joel Embiid waving Andre Drummond off the court after Drummond was talking smack for weeks leading up to this game. Embiid had one of the best games of his entire career, and Drummond, well, he was there too. This is messed up. Look at him. But to really understand just how bad Embiid called out Drummond and then proceeded to flame him, we have to take it back to October 23rd, 2017. In their first ever matchup, Embiid asserted himself against an all-star Drummond with 30 points and 9 rebounds in a win. Embiid also held Drummond to just 14 points. Strike one. Clearly, Embiid had the better game, and quite honestly, was already looking like a better player. When asked about Drummond's game in a post-game interview, Embiid said, defensively, he doesn't play defense. Which is redundant, and not even all that accurate. Statistically, Drummond is an above-average defender. In fact, he outperforms Embiid in most advanced defensive categories. But Embiid wasn't trying to spit facts. He was trying to hurt feelings, which he clearly did, continuing to pick apart Drummond and his game throughout the entire interview. Andre Drummond responded to Embiid by tweeting, "See you December 2nd, the date of their next matchup." Drummond followed up this tweet by saying, "You can't really have a conversation with a man who can't play back-to-backs. When he can play a whole season without taking a rest, he can come talk to me." On that day, Drummond had time. But maybe he should have checked his watch again, because all that time clearly did him no good. On December 2nd, Embiid gave Drummond the business again by dropping 25 and 10 in another win. And another, and another. But to add insult to injury, Andre Drummond, who went off for a whopping 14 points, fouled out of the game while Embiid waved him off the court.
Bye, have a great time.
That's strike 2, buddy. Fast forward to the following season, and Embiid continued to abuse Drummond by dropping 33, 11, and 7 on the man. But wait. Drummond scored a blistering 14 points. At this point, it's just getting sad. But unfortunately for Andre Drummond, there's more. Following this heated battle, Drummond truly sealed his fate by sharing some harsh words for Embiid in an interview, saying that Joel Embiid was fat and that he locked Embiid down. Okay. To which Embiid responded in an interview saying that Drummond couldn't guard him and that he dominates him every single time they match up. He then followed up by saying he could score 40 on Drummond, no problem. Go ahead and take a wild guess at what happened next.
Embiid to work here on Drummond. Got him with a fake and slam for 2. As Embiid will go to the line looking for one more.
No help coming. Every defender in the Pistons uniform watching these two go at it. You give Joel, let's count. 1 dribble, 2 dribble, 3 dribbles, 4. Yeah.
And to those. And then overtime win. The lob to Embiid. Well, Embiid continues to do his thing unimpeded. He's got 27 points on 8 shots. Embiid for 3 and why not? Joel Embiid, dare I say, has it going on.
Just 11 days after putting up 33 on Drummond and saying publicly that he would have 40 on him the next time they faced off, Joel Embiid scored 32 points in the first half and put up 39 and 17 for the game, nearly getting both Detroit big men to foul out in the process. You get it? Like, in the process, because Embiid is... As if this wasn't bad enough, Drummond scored 8 points. But wait, I'm not finished. As if the man wasn't hurting enough, Embiid managed to get Drummond ejected from the game. And after the game, Embiid tweeted this and finally put an end to this incredibly one-sided rivalry. Good Lord, Andre Drummond, I'm sorry, sir, but that's strike 3, and I'm gonna need you to sit down. Boy, if you don't... And, of course, what would a video be without a crazy Michael Jordan trash talk story? Only, this time, Michael was talking trash before the game even started. See, throughout the early 80s, the Chicago Bulls had a player by the name of Reggie Theus, a 6'7" combo guard who consistently led the team in scoring and was arguably the best player throughout a 5-year stretch. But in 1984, the Bulls caught Reggie off guard when they traded him to the Kansas City Kings to make room for an incoming guard that the organization felt had a promising future. I don't know, you may have heard of the kid before. His name was Michael Jordan. Had some cool shoes, was teammates with Bugs Bunny, pretty solid player. But after seeing the Bulls draft Jordan and anoint him as the future of the league, Reggie was not happy. In fact, after Jordan was drafted, Reggie singled out MJ and had some words to say about it.
It was really mad at Reggie Pitt. Because when he got traded, when Reggie got traded, Michael was drafted coming in. And Reggie was like, there's no guy who can replace me as a rookie. So he said, just tell Reggie that I'm going to get 45 tonight.
I can say he's going to get 45.
Clearly, this was too early in MJ's career for opponents to know any better. But it didn't take long for Reggie to realize he had made a horrible mistake.
Anxiety attack. My heart's gonna beat out my chest. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Hey, Mr. Jordan is Mr. Jordan. Michael Jordan simply was unguardable. And Reggie was like, there's no guy who can replace me that's a rookie.
Stop it. Get some help. After having the nerve to tell me if he would drop 45 on his head while he was in the locker room getting ready for the game, a 23-year-old Michael Jordan played absolutely out of his mind and scored 43 points and grabbed 7 rebounds to go along with his 6 assists, 5 steals, and 4 blocks. A beatdown that I'm sure Reggie Theus remembers to this very day. And I'm also sure that Reggie would admit all there. But, of course, it didn't. Apparently, Michael Jordan took those harsh words from Reggie to heart. Because for the rest of Reggie's career, Michael Jordan continued to burn, torch, and light Reggie up every single time he saw the man. You think I'm joking? In the 19 times Jordan and Theus matched up over the next 5 seasons until Theus retired, Michael Jordan averaged, you ready for this? Nearly 40 points a game. 40 points a game. You cannot make this stuff up. I mean, Mike wasn't just playing. The man was trying to end Reggie Theus' career. Like, this doesn't even look real. In the final matchup, Reggie Theus got 41 points dropped on his head, got blown out by 34 points, played 11 more games in the league, said, skip, and retired. Of all the players Michael Jordan had it out for, poor old Reggie Theus got his ass torched more than anyone. Dude really talked trash, got lit up for 5 straight seasons, got 40 points in his own farewell tour, and unfortunately, this is the price you pay for playing at the wrong time. And running your mouth. Talking trash before the game even starts, telling a man exactly how many points you're going to score on him before it's even game day. Well, that's just borderline psychotic. That is, until you do precisely what you said you would. Hope you all enjoyed. In the comments below, share a story of a time when you talk trash on the court and actually back it up. Be sure to subscribe if not yet, and as always, until next time.
Hey, it's your boy Jesus Nice and the Kid Merrill, and we're back here with our homie Che. How's it going, man?
Good, good. That's right, Che Z in the building, just giving the rock. Listen, man, what's the response been like online?
Both sides. And everybody got the hot take, but can't please them all.
True.
Listen, you
Trash talk has always been a part of the NBA, but there are just certain players you don't talk trash to. Kobe is one of those players, and this player had to learn that the hard way. What is up, dudes, dudettes, players, it's your boy MJ. Why am I showing you this? It's one bucket of many that Kobe has had throughout his long career. I mean, no, seriously, that is just a normal shot for Kobe. Okay, maybe it's a little difficult during the clutch, but it's not during a playoff game. That one bucket has a lot of trash talk behind it, so let's just get into it. Drop a like for more stories like this, and as Kobe would say, I work hard all day. So, subscribe! Otherwise, Kobe might get a little